get another shot? All right. Everybody, calm down. I'll get to you when I get to you. That is enough. Leave your tip on the bar anyway. Oh, hello, everyone. I am the immortal Kevin Donovan. Welcome back to the channel. And I have another story time. This shirt I dug out of the closet. Well, I don't know. I guess it was a closet. It was an old Tupperware bin I had upstairs in my spare room. John Barleycorn staff. Yeah, I was a bartender for a long time in my life. Well, 3 years, 05 to 08. Bartended at the local tavern in Owego. So since 08, that's, what does that make? 8 to 12 is 20 and 1 so 13. So this was 13 years ago. I am no longer drinking. I'm no longer employed by the Barleycorn. I just happen to keep the shirt. So don't get it twisted like, oh, he's drinking again? No, I'm not. I'm sober. But I was a long-time drinker, and I figured what better place to work than in the bar that you drink at. So I started bartending down there. And since then, the Barleycorn is under new ownership with new people, new personnel. They got a new look in there. They redid the whole thing. I haven't been in there since it's got renovated and done again, which is funny because the last person that owned it, her name was Barb Dunnigan, and the bar is done again. So that's funny. But I worked for Barbara when she owned the John Barleycorn, and this was their logo. And I started as a bar back, and then one of the bartenders was leaving, so I trained to be a bartender. And then they started giving me shifts, and I worked Sundays, Mondays as a bartender, and I bar backed on Friday nights. I was a DJ for my housemate, Thaddeus, that was also a DJ at the Barleycorn, but he also had many other gigs that he did. So I was a bartender, bar back, and DJ for many years of my life, several years of my life, a wild alcoholic at that. So, story time. This is one of those times where I was heavily involved with the Barleycorn. The Barleycorn was my hangout. It was my spot. It was my place. All my people were there. It was a wild time in my life. It was particularly interesting. There was nothing but bar drama and craziness. Just a lot of silliness going on, a lot of boozing and partying back then. So here's a story. I always made a big deal about my birthday, and even into my 30s a little bit, I made a big deal about my birthday. I always wanted to make a big party, have a big get-together, do something for my birthday. I didn't always have a girlfriend around the time of my birthday. My birthday is October 25th, so if you want to send anything, that's the day. So I'd throw myself a party, and I would always just invite a bunch of people, and we'd go down to the Barleycorn and party. And that was the easiest thing for me to do. Sometimes the bar would help me out. They'd order pizzas. Sometimes we'd have nacho bowls and have food brought in. And I would bring down 20, 30 people and we'd just have a party. And I'd try and do it on a party night. My birthday was birthday month. So the whole month of October was my birthday. It didn't matter that it was on the 25th. And Halloween, obviously, being on the 30th, I didn't care what time it was. Every weekend in October, that was my birthday. So it was a month-long party. And this was a common thing. It was expected that, oh, Kevin's birthday is coming. He's gonna make a noise about this. And I'm sure only some people were excited about it, not everyone. In 2005, I got employed by the Barleycorn, started working there, which happened to be a lot of fun. I made a decent amount of money, and I enjoyed what I did, especially being in the middle of addiction and working in a place that served your addiction. Whoa, that was great. I traded shifts with someone, and I was working a Thursday day shift, and we switched off at 8 p.m. So the bar would open 2, I think it was like 2 p.m. or something like that, 3 p.m. You'd open the bar, you'd have all the, you'd run the bar until 8 p.m., and I would take all my money and sit, boop. I'd literally walk around the bar and just sit down and be like, I'm here. Like that's what I would do. And I'd spend all the money that I made through the day shift and the evening. It didn't always work out well. There wasn't a lot of day drinkers on Thursdays, so it wasn't really the greatest idea for me to do that. I did it anyway. Well, one particular year, and I believe this was 2007, so this is 14 years ago that this happened. So don't be thinking, oh, he's back in. Well, I'm not. This is just story time. My birthday was coming up. It was my birthday weekend. I was obviously employed by the bar, and Barb was a good owner. She's such a sweet person, such a nice lady. She was kind enough and insane enough to buy me a birthday cake. Thanks, Barb. I appreciate that. Is this the one you buy like at the grocery store? Nothing crazy. It was decent size, like a sheet cake, like you would get for a 10-year-old's birthday. And it said, "Happy birthday, Kevin." And she gave me a cake and said, "Happy birthday. Enjoy this." And I said, "Thank you, Barb, so much. I really appreciate that." And I took it when I was sober and working, and I set it off to the side. Later on that evening, a friend of mine, unbeknownst that I already had a cake, brought me a homemade birthday cake, a round one. about that big, yay tall. I believe it was layered with peanut butter in there and chocolate on the outside, and said, "Happy birthday, Kevin," and brought me a cake. And it was towards the end of my shift, and I was sober, and I took that, and I said, "Thank you so much. That's amazing. I really appreciate that. Now I have 2 cakes." And she was like, "What?" I'm like, "I got 2 birthday cakes." And I put it next to the other one. My shift ended. The second bartender came on. Being my birthday, the first thing that we did was a couple of birthday shots. And I believe at the time, the shot of choice at the Barleycorn was something called a mind eraser. And a mind eraser is a big shot glass or the small rocks glass. And you would put ice in it. You would put Kahlua in it, give it half full of vodka, and then you'd put some club soda on the top of it. You would take a straw and cut it in half with scissors so they're the same size. So you'd have double barrel straws in it. You'd cheers and you'd drink it from the bottom up. And they tasted pretty good. They were a pretty flavorful drink, but they were knockouts. There's a reason they called them mind erasers. Woo! You fire down a couple mind erasers and it literally, at one point they came up with an order for a mind eraser. It was just this. You'd get the bartender's attention. You're like, "Hey, 2. And that they knew to make a mind eraser and bring 2 over to you. Things would get rowdy after mind erasers. And the typical thing, because I was a shot drinker, I was all about shots and partying, everybody that knew me wanted to buy me shot. And being the bartender for a couple years at that point, I knew everybody. There wasn't a soul that walked into the bar that I didn't know. I was expecting to be inundated with alcohol that evening, and I was excited for it, being a raging alcoholic, as one is. You're excited when people buy you drinks and buy you shots. So I was. So I get off my shift. I do a mind eraser with my buddy. I'll just say his first name, Mike. I did a shot with Mike, sat down at the bar. My housemate, Thaddeus, would always do Thursday night team trivia at the John Barleycorn, starting at about 9:30, 10, somewhere in there. He'd start later, and he'd start the team trivia. Team trivia was always a hoot. Everybody enjoyed it. He ran a great show. He was a good MC, DJ, but he was a good MC. He's great on the mic, and he would just run a trivia show. And the people would gather in groups, and he'd ask questions. He'd play a song. He'd ask another question, play a song, and he'd hand out little slips of paper. You'd write down your answer, turn it in. He'd keep track of the scores. And at the end of the night, he would give away small prizes. I don't remember what they were exactly. I think it was the first place team got a $40 gift certificate or $40 in drink chips. Second place got like $25 in drink chips or something like that. And third place got like $15. It was something of that order. So if you placed in the top 3, you were getting free drinks. And I always played trivia. I was always there every Thursday night. And I always put my hand in, and I gained a whole lot of dumb knowledge from that for no reason. But I already had a lot of dumb knowledge already in my head. I was pretty good at trivia. So I always enjoyed Thursday nights with Thad doing trivia and sitting down at my local watering hole and just doing the damn thing. Well, this year, 2007, I was working there. We're sitting down there, we're drinking, we're partying, and the night's going on. We're doing trivia. I'm doing shots. People are showing up. I've invited 20, 30, 40 people. People are coming in. It's starting to pick up. Thursday nights are always a pretty good night anyway, but the night's picking up and getting pretty quick. And another friend of mine brought me, yeah, you guessed it, another cake. I had not 1, not 2, 3 birthday cakes brought to me at the bar because I made a big deal about my birthday, and everybody knew that, and everybody wanted to help, and that was awesome. So what do drunk people do? Drunk people make messes. So at one point, I'm drinking mind erasers. I'm not thinking right. I'm doing shots. We're running around the bar, screaming and yelling, having a good time. Thad's on the mic, shouting out questions. We're shouting things back to him, not always the answers. We're all having a good time. Everything's really going well. Everything's really going well. I'm having a great night. Everything's super fun. At one point, in my drunk brain, I decide that Thaddeus, he needs a cake to the face. That's what he needs. I got these 3 cakes. I have no interest in eating them, but I have very much interest in throwing one of them. So I grabbed the chocolate one, the round chocolate one. No. I grabbed the sheet, the white icing, Happy Birthday Kevin in blue. Thad was in his little DJ booth area, and he was doing his thing, and he was looking away. And as he was looking away, I reached over. I just walked over kind of quietly, scooped up the cake, which was right in front of him, by the way. Not on his table, but on that end of the bar. It was only, 6 feet away from him. Walk over, scoop up that cake. I peel around like away from him and walk around. So now I'm behind him, and he's back up on the thing, and he's on the mic, and he's talking, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and I'm creeping. Here I come in my head. In my head, this is going to be so glorious. I'm going to go, hey, Thad. He's going to go, huh? And then wham! Sheet cake right to the face. Well, I'm sneaking, and I don't know if somebody pointed or what, and I'm really drunk at this point. At the last second, I'm winding up, and I'm about to yell, hey, Thad! Before I yelled anything, he turns around, and I'm like a pace and a half away. I can't chuck it at him. And I was just like, oh, like totally caught, red-handed, no throwing the cake. He totally caught me. And I was like, oh. And I just started laughing like, hey, that's one idea. All right, I'll just put this back. And I went and I put it down with the other cakes. Dad was like, I got you. And I was like, all right, yeah. Thought that was the end of it. That idea passed as quickly as it came. So I'm standing at that end of the bar, surrounded by friends, coworkers, drinkers, patrons, men, women, boys, girls, children of all ages. And I'm the center of attention. Because back then, that's what I wanted to be. I was loud, I was crazy, I was the center of attention. My good buddy Thaddeus, my dear friend, who, by the way, is going to co-host the podcast with me, so stay tuned for that. I'm standing at the end of the bar, hanging out, having a good time. I got a beer in my hand, and I'm just standing there, not paying attention. The next thing I know, I can't see anything. I'm just, what? I go like that, and I see a huge chocolate and peanut butter cake fall onto the ground. Thaddeus grabbed the cake, snuck around behind me, and slammed the cake in my face. He caked me. And I wanted to cake him so bad. I was shocked. Everybody in the bar erupted. It was a great scene. I'm the butt of the joke, but not to be outdone, I grabbed 2 handfuls of cake and I start winging it at people. And then somebody else grabbed some cake and threw it back at me. And then I grabbed some more cake and I threw it back at them. And then I went for the white cake and grabbed handfuls of that and started slamming it on people's faces and slamming it on the sides of their heads and putting it across people's shirts and starting to make a mess. And guess what? A bunch of people joined me. They all came back to the back corner and we had a cake war with 3 cakes. Cake went everywhere. Icing went in every single crevasse that you could imagine. In the floor, in the bar, in the chairs. I think even in the DJ booth. I don't think Thad was happy about that. It went everywhere. It was in my ears, in my eyes, in my mouth, up my nose, covered in cake. Cake everywhere. The people around me, covered in cake. Cake battle. Exploded. Food fight, cake battle. Craziness. Went apeshit. I finally got Thaddeus back because I think he let me. He didn't want to be left out. He was too busy shooing people away, protecting his DJ booth, and keeping cake and nonsense people away. But finally I walked up to him like, Thaddeus, with 2 handfuls of cake. And I just went, come here, buddy. Boom. And I just put 2 big old globs, bah, right on his face. My good friend Alicia, who was one of the girls that brought me a cake. She was a special person in my life for a long time. There's a great picture of Alicia, me, and Thaddeus. And if I find that picture, I'm going to put it here. All that cake on our face. And that was after I got cleaned up once. Because one of the girls that didn't want to participate in the cake battle freaked out that we threw all this cake all over the place and got a wet rag from the bartender and came and started cleaning drunk people. Like like a mom would, like, you got something, get that out. And she got a rag and was wiping people down. She grabbed me by the arm like a little kid. Grabbed me by the arm. Kevin, come here. And just cleaned all this icing and cake off of my face. It was spectacular. But then some more cake happened and some more nonsense happened. The back half of the barley corn at this point is covered in cake and icing. The bartender, Mike, is like, Kevin, go get the mop. You're cleaning that up. And I said, no, I'm not, because we hire cleaners. What do the cleaners do? They clean. I'm going to leave this for them. It's my birthday. Cleaners got this. I ain't cleaning it. Mike said, I'm not cleaning it. I heard back that the cleaners were extremely upset about that decision. That icing is so hard to get off. And it leaves, I don't know if you ever played with icing, and you smear it like on the table, and you try and wipe it up with a wet rag, it just smears, and it leaves that greasy shit all over the place. Yeah. Not only did we smear cake and icing everywhere, trying to clean that up after it dried out for a few hours, I'm sure that was not a pleasant process. So the cleaners ended up chewing out Barb, the owner, because of what her employees did to the bar. Rightfully so. Barb gave me a phone call, which wasn't too pleasant, but I had to take that earful, and I understand. Since that day, the owner, Barbara, put a mandate forward. Absolutely no cake allowed in the barley corn from that point on. You could celebrate your birthday. You could only have pizza. That was the only thing allowed in the bar. She wouldn't allow any other food in the bar at that point, unless it was for a special occasion, like the Super Bowl, like we bring in chili or stuff like that. But for birthdays, no more cake. There was a cake ban because of this guy. But what a silly night that was. having a full-on food fight cake war in a bar because we were drunk. That's all it was. Just a ridiculous food fight. With cake. Thanks, Thad. I started it with the creeping, but he started it when he actually hit me in the face with cake. But then those cakes went everywhere. It was like a cake bomb went off. You ever see a glitter bomb go off? This was a cake bomb that went off. It was hysterical. Ah, the good days. I'm glad I don't do shit like that anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and retire this shirt. Probably never bring this one out again. This is going back up in the tote because this John Barleycorn no longer exists. The bar's still there and it's still named the Barleycorn. But this Barleycorn, this version is retired forever. And so is this bartender for sure. But I just wanted to share that story. The Cake War of '07. That was quite a bit of fun. What a time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. Send this to your friends. If you had any experiences like that, please leave them down in the comments. Let me know your story. Any food fights or cake wars that you did in a bar. That'd be fun to hear about. Until next time, until next story time, until the next good story time, until I come up with another good story next time, peace.